Hello, we are Liz and Jamie.
And we live on a boat with a cat. In the last episode we caught fish, and more fish. It was time to say goodbye to our new sailing friends and make our way to the shipyard to start those repairs. We also told you we'd be at the shipyard this week, but here we are, stuck on a mooring buoy, at night, in between two coral reefs. The question is, with approaching squalls, can we even get out? Right, so what are we looking at?
Okay, so you probably can't see the details here, but here we are in Koh Rock, and this is Taratau, and this is Chebelang. So we've got to work out a little route to get down there. It all looks pretty straightforward. Apart from northwest of Taratau, you have this group of islands here. So I've put a waypoint in, which will take us down through these islands. 35 miles, we should be there by sunlight, I'm guessing, so we should see what we're doing. And then we head over down here to the very tip of Taratau, and so that's our next waypoint. After that, however, I'll zoom out. This is the big island of Taratau. What we're trying to do is to get to Chebelang, and we can't do that in one go. We have to time this so that we're on a rising spring tide to get into Chebelang. So the way to do that is to get down to the east side of Taratau, roughly around here. So that's where we want to be tomorrow. So I'm just putting in a couple of waypoints, and we have to be careful. There's a few obstructions, it's quite shallow. We've got to get down from here to here and be safely anchored here tomorrow midday to be there, so that next day we can then hop across.
Okay, and that's all going to be in the daylight, so that's okay. I'm just a little bit more concerned about the islands halfway down. I'd just like to think that it might be daylight by then. Yeah,
I think they will be. I mean, they're not lit. There doesn't seem to be anything that's lit on them. We're going to run the radar so that we'll be able to pick up those islands, and they should be okay. I mean, I think our biggest problem really are going to be fishing boats and various things, objects in the water that we have seen, fish traps,
and we're not going to see them
logs.
now.
No, we won't see them, but
well, let's see what happens then.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have a vague passage plan. I think we should be okay.
So you just want to talk me through how we're going to get out of here? We're on a mooring buoy at the moment, and we've got coral all around us.
Yeah, we have. So we've got our track from when we came in earlier, and we have our track from when we left previously. So we're going to follow that. And yeah, I think once we get out of there, we should be alright. The main problem is the fact that we're on a mooring buoy and we're pointing in the wrong direction. So what we want to try and do is to either slip the mooring buoy and turn the boat round, or turn the boat round first and then slip the mooring buoy. I haven't quite worked that out yet, but with the beauty of GPS and then radar, I'm hoping we should be alright.
One final question.
Yes.
Over your right shoulder I see a white flashing light, which is one of our blinking lights. Are we going to leave that on, or are we going to undo that?
No, we've got to undo that. That's so there's this thing called coal regs, and the coal regs are the collision international collision regulation rules, which mariners around the world adhere to, and unfortunately they don't really adhere to them around here. So a lot of boats install extra lighting when they're at anchor, and that's what we do. We have an anchor light at the top of the mast, but we have these extra flashing lights either end of the boat to avoid the possibility of any kind of collision. We've got to take them down. When we go out there, we've got to take them down. Okay, nighttime sailing, we put the nav lights on, and we're going to be motoring, so we're going to put the steaming lights on. If we were just sailing, we'd put the tricolor, which is the three coloured light at the top of the mast, but we won't do that. We'll just put the nav and the steaming lights on. So that's a white light on the main mast, the port and starboard lights on the pulpit, and also a white light on the back of the boat. Unfortunately, Because of our little accident, I don't think anyone's going to see the rear white light. So we may actually swap over to the tricolor if we happen to find ourselves in a situation where we have boats behind us. Okay, engine on, lights off, and we're ready to roll.
We slip the mooring line without any issues and make our way east, then south towards the Bulon Islands. Being night time, there's not much footage to show you, apart from the odd squall along the way.
Okay, so we've got a storm on the port bow. It's about 10 miles away. The flashes of light suggest it's a lot closer. It feels a lot closer. Not sure which way it's going at the moment, but we can pick it up on radar. So it stretches across our port side. We'll just keep monitoring it for the moment and see where it goes. But of course the great thing with the radar is that we could, if we wanted to, dodge the storm, but it's difficult to tell, but we'll keep an eye on it.
We continue to motor into the night. First light, we approach the Bulon Islands. The water is flat calm and the moon is full. It makes for an atmospheric motor, past floating villages of fishermen rafted up in their longtails. There's no traffic, and aside from the motor, it's a tranquil start to the new day. With everyone feeling refreshed, we make our run down the east side of imposing Taratau. It's one of Thailand's largest islands and the country's first national marine park. Once a penal colony, it was the perfect place to cast away undesirables. With its unforgiving tropical rainforest, strong tidal currents and fierce saltwater crocodiles, escape would have been nigh on impossible. We drop the anchor in the middle of the east side, in the lee of a small island that has come alive with birdsong. some of us are now ready to make the approach to Chebelang.
So you can see Liz preparing the lines at the front, and we've got fenders down the side ready because we're probably going to be tying up alongside a fishing boat on the port side. So this is the entrance to Chebelang, and you probably can't see it over there. It's a very cloudy day today, but that's Chebelang, and this bay here is extremely shallow. So we've come in on a spring tide and on a rising tide, so the chart has depths down to 1.6 and 1.3. The tide is coming in, and it says 2.4 above chart datum, so that basically means that 1.2 would actually be 3.6 depth. So, and the other reason for coming in on a spring rising spring tide is if we do hit the bottom, we've still got more water coming in behind us to lift us off. It's very, very misty and murky out here. There were lots of longtails out there with their fish traps, all of them waved. Over there is Langkawi, which is typically the north side of Langkawi is covered in rain. And we are about to enter the area that gives us chart depths of less than 2 meters. In the background you can hear on the VHF the American Navy have been coming through on channel 16 with a general announcement to say that if you see of any refugee boats to call on 16. And at the time of recording, this is the time when Malaysia and Thailand have been receiving shiploads of Rohingya from Burma. You've probably read about it in the news. Initially, the two countries were turning these boats away, but the Asian countries of Thailand and Malaysia and Indonesia have, and even Burma as well, have actually sat around the table and have now started taking these refugees on because they are starving and need somewhere to stay. And there's a lot of boats out there with many thousands, they think, of refugees out there floating. I don't think we'll find any refugee boats here though. You never know though. What are you grinning about?
Life. And its little ups and downs.
And life right now is where?
We're back at PSS. We're not hauled, although we have spoken to Gia and we are going to haul out probably on Sunday. Today's Friday. At the moment we're just tied up alongside a fishing boat, but we're in a very tidal river, so we're being quite careful just to see how things go this afternoon when the tide turns, because we're a little worried about rubbing against the boat. Anyway, so that's where we are at the moment. In some ways it's nice to be back here because there's a lot of very good friends, and it's lovely to see their smiling faces. People have been waving and saying hello, which is great. And the really good piece of news is that Gia first inspection of the damage on the back is that, yep, all doable, mendable, don't have to remake it, and that's just great news. It really is good news.
We've already been invited to a party and we've only been here half an hour as well.
Yeah.
We've had various people come down to the dockside and wave and say hello. Yeah, it feels like being back at home, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It's, you know, if you've got to go through these mini traumas, it's quite nice to be able to do it somewhere you know. And obviously we know this place well. We were here for a year, and in some ways it's very nice to be back. She's slippery.
Oh, poor Mary.
Oh, Millie.
Explain what's going on here.
Yeah, okay, so we're tied up alongside a fishing boat at PSS. We're going to be hauled out tomorrow, and we went and had a few drinks, and everything's slightly on the piss now because we have settled in the mud. and this is a very odd feeling, and everything's starting to slip sideways, and the cat can hardly walk across the floor.
So basically we're at low water. We're at low water and we are a bit skew with.
Hello. It's a bit odd. You don't really understand it, do you? It's okay.
We came back to the boat. We have to climb across 2 fishing boats to get here. And we noticed that Esper was slightly leant over in the mud. So we've climbed on board, and just to give you an idea, that is the correct angle at which we should be. So if I do that, it's very difficult to walk around.
So that's straight. That's me standing.
That's you standing straight.
Yeah. That's straight up.
So here we are back in the river waiting to come into the slip, and you can just see behind the big blue fishing boat 2 rather large masts, and it's a huge sailboat with an enormous bowsprit, which is the bit that sticks out the front, just being slipped in now. I'm not sure where the boat's from. I suspect it might be Germany. I don't know if there's anything to give that away. But you can see possibly the 2 masts. The forward one bends forward and the aft one bends aft. Now, I don't really know too much about rigging to be able to identify what kind of rig that is, but it's a rather large boat. Anyway, when he comes out, he's still got a bit of tide. It's going to be pushing him this way, so I just hope his engine is working and can move himself upriver when he gets slipped.
So after a lot of to-ing, froing and a lot of shouting, it was decided that the cradle they'd got ready for us was too narrow, and they took it off, and we're just held on by the ropes at the moment. Readjusted the cable, the cradle I mean, and we're going to try again.
Smile for the camera.
Hello and welcome to year 5 of Esper's refit. In the next episode, we crack on with those repairs. But in the meantime, we wish you all a happy and festive holiday.
Yeah.